Hi everybody. Great to be here and great to see you all. Very excited. We're gonna, in the next 30 minutes or so, Elvis and I are gonna share with you a little bit of our experience. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about Mass Challenge Israel, about Mass Challenge in general, and a little bit about our program in 2021. And then Elvis will share some of his experience working in Israel and beyond. And we will leave some time in the end for some questions. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first thing I want to talk about, first of all, is how lovely and amazing it is to be here and present to you. I wish I could be here or there in person, but unfortunately, these challenging times don't really allow that for us to happen. But nevertheless, I'm very excited to be here and to present Mass Challenge to you. At the end of my lecture, I'm going to keep my email and another code for you to be able to apply to the Mass Challenge program. And of course, my email, as I said, to let me know if you have any questions. So we're going to talk about three things today. We're going to talk about Mass Challenge as a whole. We're going to talk about Mass Challenge Israel. And then we're going to have a little bit of a conversation about this year's program. So let's talk first of all about Mass Challenge. One of the main things about Mass Challenge globally is the nature of the organization being able to really focus on the global aspect. So you can see some general information here about the organization. Mass Challenge was founded in 2009 as an answer to the financial crisis that was a global financial crisis in 2008, that basically our founders were thinking about how important it is to promote innovation and entrepreneurship in order to really help the economy grow and develop, but more importantly, to regain the trust that the economy has lost, the businesses that were fighting over short-term gains instead of investing in the future and in innovation. And you can see here that we've done that by creating a global accelerator program that has several offices in different places on the globe. And we are essentially welcoming startups in early stages from all industries, from all over the world, as you can see in front of you. And we're talking about somewhere around 9 to 10% of acceptance from applying to the program and actually getting inside the program itself and participating in the accelerator. You can see here that we are recruiting from several different industries such as high tech, which is the larger tech scene, healthcare and life sciences that also include medical technologies, the general sector for startups that are focusing on impact but don't fall under the other lines, the social impact, more specifically to socially related solutions, and then of course, energy or clean tech or clean energy, however you want to call it. You can see how vastly Mass Challenge is spread across the globe. We have 7 different offices that operate 9 different programs. So these are accelerator programs in all of our channels, in all of our different places around the world. You can see that our main focus, our main office sits in Boston, in our Israel office, our Mexico office, and our Switzerland office started in 2015. And then we added our Texas offices and our Rhode Island offices a little bit later. We also have developed something very exciting called the Bridge to Mass Challenge. You can see in front of you that we have about 14 of those programs that were already that already happened or are in progress as we speak. And the idea is basically to create a program for local economies and local ecosystems that wish to connect with Mass Challenge. So the idea here is really to create a program for places that don't yet have a Mass Challenge office, but want to promote their local innovation system, want to take their ecosystem one step forward and focus on the global aspect of it while really helping the local entrepreneurs. So before we jump into talking about Israel, I want to show you some of the numbers. I know that a lot of people think that numbers are the most important thing to talk about. And I want to focus on three specific numbers because those numbers tell a story. And we all know that stories are the best thing that we could tell in order to attract the best entrepreneurs, because that's what makes a good startup. A great story and a founder that's willing to make that story a reality. So imagine yourselves being a young entrepreneur or an older entrepreneur, but somebody with an idea that really is going to revolutionize the world, is going to solve a massive challenge and create a global impact. You probably are very confused because you don't have any experience. You don't know where to go or how to get there. And so I want to show you here the first number I want to focus on, which is the number of startups accelerated. See, one of my strongest beliefs, and I've been doing this for quite some time now, I've been with Mass Challenge for almost 5 years. And one of the main things that we see is that it doesn't matter how smart you are as a founder, and it doesn't matter how strong you are and how good your team is, you're going to need assistance. You're going to need support, especially if this is your first time doing an innovation effort or being involved in a startup. You need support. You need somebody to help you understand your market. You need somebody to help you understand how to pitch and how to tell your story the right way. And most of all, you need to learn how to take your company forward and create a long-term plan to develop your company and your idea. So it's very important that we get to as many startups as we can. And you can see here that globally, Mass Challenge, in the 11 years that we have existed, we have accelerated more than 2,400 companies worldwide. This is a tremendous number. And frankly, this is only a number that relates to our startups who have been a part of the accelerator. So in reality, think about doubling that number at least to understand how many startups we have been in touch with, how many startups we have read an application for. And most of all, how many of them have we given feedback to, even if they did not get accepted into the program, to help them try to achieve their idea elsewhere. And a lot of them have reapplied to even after not being accepted. The second time around, they have been accepted and they have done tremendously well. But after you get accelerated, that's not enough. The next step, as probably a lot of you know, is getting money, is understanding how to tell your story to somebody who can help you sponsor it and bring your idea from here to the reality. Everybody knows the challenges of raising money. And this is one of the most important things we focus on in the accelerator program, both in Israel and around the world. Although we don't commit to having our startups receive a funding because we are a non-for-profit entity and we take no equity from our companies, the program is given for free. Nevertheless, we help our companies prepare themselves for investments in the best way possible. We help them work on their storytelling. We develop their basic skills. We help them identify their markets, and we throw workshops and more things that I will touch on in the next few minutes. And those efforts have resulted in a great number of startups actually raising funds. So you can see that the Mass Challenge startups from 2010 have raised more than $6 billion in funding. Those startups actually have generated more than $3 billion in revenue. And the most important thing out of all is that those companies, and this is the third number, those companies have created 157,000 jobs. Think about what that means in terms of the job security for new employees, for weaker economies or struggling economies that are now able to hold themselves above water, especially with the COVID challenges of the last year. And most importantly, think about what this means in terms of the future. The more the jobs that you are able to create and the more we are able to support our companies to thrive and to develop, the more stable they're going to remain. And believe it or not, but Mass Challenge startups have actually maintained an 89% of stability. Or in other words, 89% of Mass Challenge startups are still active or they have been acquired. So something about the way that we connect with them and something about the type of startups that we attract really, really helps. And this is a good place for us to move directly into the Israel story. So you can see here some of the numbers that capture what we've done in Israel since 2016. Soon enough, you'll hear from Elvis, who was one of our first startups, definitely our first Nigerian entrepreneur, but also one of our first startups at all, because our first program was in 2016. So in many ways, our international ambassadors, our international startups from that year really helped promote our message and get that message across to as many entrepreneurs out there. So you can see that so far, Mass Challenge Israel, who was founded in 2016, have accelerated 250 companies, not including this year. So this is not including the upcoming application season, have created more than 11,000 jobs and have raised more than $320 million. And the numbers only keep going up. One of the things that is the most important to us, and I touched on it a little bit, is what our startups get from joining the accelerator. I've already discussed how we are an industry agnostic accelerator, and we also are an equity-free accelerator. So we actually don't have anything that we take from our companies. We provide our support for free, and in many cases, we actually even pay scholarships to our founders. Especially the international companies who come to stay in Israel. Naturally, the last program was virtual. And in fact, we were able to promote our program even further during COVID times. Our participation numbers have gone way up, and our NPS score that really measures the satisfaction rate from our startups has been the highest we've ever had at 85. So let's look at the focuses of what Mass Challenge Israel and Mass Challenge as a whole can give you, especially in 2021. So out of all the different things that we are talking about, I want to talk about 4 specific factors and components in general. Number 1, mentoring. We constantly get great feedback from our entrepreneurs about how we are able to connect them with industry experts that support them as mentors throughout the accelerator program. The second thing is we also connect our startups to strategic corporate partners. Some of them are interested in investing, some of them are interested in collaboration or acquiring the startups, and some of them just want to have these startups as their network. The third and interesting component that we provide is, of course, a tailored curriculum or a program that is given in the summer from the month of April until the month of July. We're talking about a virtual program, especially this year and especially in 2020, which we have just finished. And lastly, but surely not least, we give our top 9 or 10 startups or top winners the ability to compete for a roadshow to the US to focus on the global aspect of the program and connect them with corporates, with industry leaders in Boston and in New York, and of course, with directly exposing them to dozens of investors and industry leaders. So if you want to apply, what do? Well, that's really easy. If you're a startup in your early stages and you have not raised more than $1 million in equity or have not generated more than $2 million in annual revenue, then you can apply. As I said, later in just a couple of minutes, I will share the slide with the application code that allows you to apply for free and waives the fee. But I want to mostly talk to you about why you should come to Israel, even if it's just virtually, specifically. See, everybody knows that Israel is a place of innovation. Some people call it the startup nation. Some people call it in other names, but it's very clear that the industry and the innovation ecosystem in Israel is thriving and is very developed. And the reason for that is several fold, but the main reason, if you ask me, and this is of course my personal opinion based on my knowledge and my experience working with startups in the last few years, the main reason for that is because everybody wants to go global. And we have a fantastic way of securing that, because Israel has a lot of connection with the Western industries, and now also with, I'm glad to say, the last few years with African countries and with the Asian markets. We are able to connect very easily because of our position as a bridge, and because of the vast knowledge of our entrepreneurs. We are actually able to connect our entrepreneurs globally very easily and effectively. Add on that Mass Challenge Israel has a vast network of experts, partners, alumni, staff members, and other type of programs, and you will receive a really tremendous opportunity for a startup that wants to go global and take their companies to the next level. Before I pass the mic to Elvis, I just want to wrap up with a couple of words about our vision and the way that we support that vision on our daily mission. And then I will share with you the details for the application and pass the mic to Elvis. And of course, afterwards, hopefully we'll have some time for a couple of questions if anybody wants to ask about the Israel program, about the accelerator, and about what we do. So just a word about our vision. I want you to see what we look at in really the way that we communicate how we see the future. See, Mass Challenge believes that by collaborative innovation and by helping entrepreneurs meet each other virtually or in person and connect to the right stakeholders, we are able to secure a much stronger future for our economies and for our world, and to support the solution of many problems and many challenges. And the way that Mass Challenge supports this vision is by simply adhering to the next and very clear mission. Our mission is to help equip the best entrepreneurs, the best innovators out there, anywhere in the world, to disrupt the status quo, to help them revolutionize the industries that they come from, and to create meaningful impact and change that will go with them further and further. Mass Challenge Israel application season is opening today, so very, very exciting. Mass Challenge application season is opening today for the next 8 weeks. You can apply at masschallenge.org/apply. And you can use a special credit code coupon that will grant you with 100% free application at MCIL21 Nigeria 100, as you can see on the screen. Our application season will run from today until January 18th. Then we will have our judging rounds where you will be pitching in front of a panel of expert judges that from the local and from the global industry. And then finally, the accelerator itself will happen from the month of April until the month of July 2021, hopefully with startups from as many different countries around the world as we can get, with the best kind of curriculum, with the best content and speakers, workshops, and most importantly, connections and networking to the Israeli ecosystem, to the global ecosystem of Mass Challenge, and most importantly, to each other, to other entrepreneurs out there that are helping change the world and solve the biggest problems that we have today. Thank you so much for listening. And with that, and with this wonderful global sense, I want to pass the mic to Elvis, who, as I said, was one of our most beloved international entrepreneurs, one of our first company, a personal friend that I've even had a chance to host in my house here in Jerusalem. And of course, I would be happy to host again if one day we'll see each other in person after COVID. So thank you so much for listening. Apply today or in the next few weeks. And Elvis, with that, I will pass the mic straight to you.
Oh, thank you so much, Shai. It's a privilege to have you. So he said almost everything. I'm just going to share my story with you. Always go online, search out for opportunities. So maybe it's that partnership we're looking for, that investment, or sometimes a lecture program like this. So that was what I was doing sometime in 2016, sorry, when I saw Mass Challenge. I was like, wow, this is something Austin in Switzerland. But then I noticed they had an office in Jerusalem, Israel. For the startup nation. So I said, okay, fine, let me see. So I applied it, and that's how I got to Israel. Of my 4 months in the accelerator program was for 4 months. So 4 months for me was a bit too long for accelerator. I was like, okay, let's see how it goes. It turns out to be Mass Challenge was the best thing that has happened to me in my entrepreneurship career. It was a single week of each day we had activities, so much kinds of people. At the end of the day, my startup that was just about starting started seeing huge traction from all the things we got from Master Challenge. One good thing about Master Challenge is not just me or the faculty, it's also the fellow entrepreneurs you meet while in Israel. Develop my business at that time. For example, I remember one experience. So I was talking to Hannah. We were in the office and I said to him, I'm thinking of going to crowdfund for my business. It's not going to work. I said, no, I've done my research. This is the only way for me to raise money. He said, okay, let me show you something. He brought out his phone and he showed me a number of the, he asked me, first of all, which crowdfunding platform are you looking at using? So I said to him, the biggest, of course. And he checked his phone and showed me the country manager of that crowdfunding platform. So he dialed the number, it was on speaker, and the guy picked. He explained what I'm doing. The guy, so he said to me, enough like if you use that platform. So this is some of the examples that really helped me a lot. The way for me was minutes to pitch. So on about big event called Minute to Pitch, whereby you have to stand with a crowd like this, filled with so many great guys, investors from different together, meet with you, and you have to sell yourself to them, and they give you good feedback. You come back again. So it was really, really an opportunity for me, and I think everybody here who, most especially the finalists who wants to apply, it's something you must definitely do. And while I was in Israel, something really occurred. At the end of the program, 8 months later after I left to return back to Nigeria, because of the connection I had in Israel, was an business partnership which I met while I was under the Mass Challenge program. So in a nutshell, if you need maybe advice or question, thank you so much, everybody. Maybe questions? Questions? Okay. Okay, can come over.
Good Okay, thank you very much. The question is directed to you. Is it, when you applied, were you able to, is your company then on dollar equity base?
Okay, good.
And if it's no, meaning that the startup, those people to apply for the, that's what I just want to get.
Okay, so maybe I have to clarify that. Your business must not earn up to. So they need early stage businesses. So if you've raised investment for more than $1 million, then you cannot apply. If you've raised revenue for more than 2 million, at the time we had early traction, maybe a couple of thousands, and we got accepted. Try to correct me if I'm making a mistake or something. Yeah. More questions, please. Yeah. Okay, good. So currently, at the time, Hell Africa, it's an educational startup, but because it's education and it's a non-profit, and we were making tractions, we had like 60,000 customers. They were not paying it 100% free, but I was tired of helping people without making money. I was so broke. So I decided to start up something to make money for myself. So currently I co-founded a company called Jobskill, and we are into living in Paris and across Europe to have access to digital job opportunities. So that's what we do now. Currently, we're thinking of a new product, which I think we'll also talk to the embassy here in Israel. But we're trying to help Nigeria. It's a new product we're working on, and certainly, I know they would like to come to Israel also, so we'll get back to your office to that. Questions? Okay, sorry. Oh, sorry.
Okay, so I do understand that pitching an idea that solves a global problem is a good one. However, does Mass Challenge support ideas that are actually tailored to solving problems in, let's say, a particular continent or a particular country? That's my question.
Okay.
I can answer that
Of course.
question.
Sorry?
I can answer that question.
Okay, perfect.
So Mass Challenge doesn't support any particular continent, but rather Mass Challenge helps entrepreneurs from all across the globe. So for example, if the company is accepted into the accelerator, then Mass Challenge believes that we can help that company promote their startup and solve problems anywhere. So absolutely, we will do our best to connect this entrepreneur and the startup to the best people in their network, in our network, in Israel, in the US, and hopefully locally, to allow for them to get the best connections. Think about it this way. If you have some big player in your ecosystem to whom you want to connect, but you're just a small entrepreneur that haven't really had a big connection with this stakeholder beforehand, if we are able to make that connection for you, whether we know that stakeholder or not, it might actually go a longer way in how this person is going to take you seriously. And we've seen that in multiple times in the past. We have connected startups to different places, even if they did not actually know us specifically. But just because of the name of Mass Challenge around the world and the tremendous things that our companies have accomplished, it is a lot easier to get local help in your continent or in your country, even if you are not a specific place for Mass Challenge office.
Okay, that'll be all. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Elvis. Thank you, Shai-Shalom. Okay.
Thank you all.